Today I wanted to focus a bit on lavender. Everybody loves lavender, including me, but I've had a terrible time growing it because we live in East Tennessee, which is very humid and wet, conditions that lavender really does not like. So I've been killing my lavender plants for years. But I was determined to grow some decent lavender. So, following some advice from several gardening books, I amended my soil, which is something I've always done, but I amended it with a third perlite, 1/3 garden soil, and 1/3 peat or compost is what you can use. You can also replace the perlite with sand, and the purpose for that is that you want really good drainage for your lavender, because lavender does not like wet feet. Anyway, I really worked that into the soil in this little strip right here, about 12 inches deep. Then I made little mounds of soil about 8 to 10 inches tall, and in those mounds I planted 5-inch pot lavender. That was last year. This is the second year of the lavender plant. After that lavender was planted, I watered it in well. I let it grow to about 8 to 10 inches tall, and before it could set bloom, I cut the plants down to about 2 inches above the wood. And the purpose for that is that you want your plant to concentrate and put all its energy into creating a nice, healthy, compact, full plant rather than producing blooms. So I did not let this lavender bloom at all last year. And this is second year lavender, and look at that. It's just loaded with beautiful blooms. The bees are really enjoying it. But I am so pleased with it. The name of this lavender is called Phenomenal, which it really is pretty phenomenal. Lavender supposedly doesn't really come into its own until the 3rd year, and then it can live for 10 or 15 years. You can have a really big, huge, beautiful lavender plant. Now, these plants are going to be harvested today because you're supposed to do it before they start putting out those little blooms. You see those little blossoms right there? But if you want to use your lavender for craft projects or sachets or potpourri or any number of things, you want to gather it before it starts putting out the little flowers. The bees are not going to be happy that I take this lavender, and I'm going to leave a little bit for them. But they'll just have to move to another section. But I'm pretty pleased with it, and if I can grow lavender like this, then anybody can. So I wanted to show you some plants that I put in the spring. These were also 5-inch pots. And as you can see, this one's trying to put out some blooms. I've already cut this twice. And I'm just going to take those little blooms off. But here's one that's also been trimmed down. And you can see that that's turning into a nice little compact plant right there. This is another garden bed. And this is a garden on a slope, which is a pretty stuffed cottage garden. But I have 3 little English lavenders in here, and these also have been cut down twice because these plants were only in 5-inch pots. I put them in the mound. I put the rocks around the mound to keep that mound in place, and also the wire is because I have chickens and they love to dig around things, so that's going to have to be there for a while. But look how full and healthy looking these plants are. And I just put them in, I believe, in May. It was April or May. So I'm not going to let them put any blooms out this year. That one looks a little like it's a little thirsty. But let's see what this one does next year. There's a lot of activity going on this morning here. We've got bumblebees, honeybees, butterflies. It's just fascinating. But unfortunately for them, I'm going to harvest this today. And there are any number of ways that you can harvest lavender. If you've got a big field of lavender, you can just grab it by the handful way down and cut it with a scythe. But since I only have a little strip here with 5 lavender plants, I'm going to really relish cutting it stem by stem and just enjoy it. The bees might be a little unhappy, but I'm going to leave some for them too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a stem. Let me find a nice tall one here. I'm going to follow it down till I get to a little growth right here where you can see several new leaves coming up, and that I'm going to snip it right above that growth. So look at this nice basket of lavender. I've been snipping away one by one. I've got a pretty good patch right here. But look, I've still got all that. I'm thinking maybe I just might leave the rest of it because it is so pretty in the garden. I usually don't cut my garden flowers. I just leave them to enjoy right there where they stand, which is why I planted this little cutting garden right here, because these are zinnias and I don't feel too bad about cutting those because they just keep on blooming and blooming. But these bees are enjoying this so much. I just might leave the rest of this for the bees. I think I've got plenty. I'm going to go see what I can do with it. A lovely use for your lavender that you've collected is to make a lavender wand, also known as a lavender bottle. And these were popular in colonial times and also Victorian times, and used to scent drawers, to scent bedding, and just as a lovely little gift with a nice fragrance to it. So it's pretty easy to make. You're going to gather about 15 to 17 stems. You're going to put them together in a nice bunch with the heads even at the top. And at the base of the heads, you're going to tie a slender ribbon, short on one end and fairly lengthy on the other end. Next, you're going to bend those stems over the top of the heads, kind of like you're peeling a banana, you're folding it down, and you're going to do that all the way around. So you're encasing the lavender buds with the stems. Try to make them even. Just fix this a little bit so that they're the same distance apart. Then you're going to take that ribbon and you're going to wind that ribbon in and out of those. So here you can see that I'm weaving it in and out between those stems, and I'm going to go all the way to the bottom of the head with that weaving. So there you have it, a lovely little lavender wand, which should give you some nice fragrance for quite a few years. So I gathered about 2/3 of the lavender out of the garden. I left the rest just to grow and be pretty and happy pollen for the bees. I put a couple sprigs in some vases with some Queen Anne's lace, but mostly I wanted to be able to gather some to dry. So I think I got enough there. Didn't really need much more than that. And that should keep its fragrance for about a year. And then I hope I'll have another lavender adventure next spring or summer. And I hope you have one too. From Hopalong Hollow, this is Jeri. See you next time.